In the heart of Germany, nestled between whispering forests and towering grey mountains, lay a small village. Here lived a thoughtful boy named Erik. The villagers were hardy folk, but as the days grew shorter and the air bit with the coming frost, a quiet fear began to settle. The elders spoke of a long winter, a time when the snow would fall for months. The sun would be a pale ghost in the sky, and food would become as precious as gold. This year, the signs were all there. The squirrels were frantic, burying more nuts than anyone had ever seen. The birds had flown south weeks earlier than usual. A deep, heavy silence seemed to hang over the great black forest, a silence that felt watchful and ancient. Erik felt the unease in his bones. He saw the worried glances between adults and heard the nervous whispers that stopped whenever he entered a room. The how of their survival was a terrifying, unknown beast. How would they keep warm? How would they have enough to eat? How would they endure the crushing darkness? One afternoon, while gathering fallen branches at the edge of the woods, Erik met Greta, her cheeks red from the cold. She was trying to drag a log far too big for her. "It's for my grandmother," she panted, her breath making a small cloud. Her woodpile is nearly empty. Erik helped her, their combined strength barely enough to move the heavy log. As they worked, they talked about the coming winter. Greta's fear was plain to see. What if the stories are true, Erik? What if the snow never stops? Her question echoed the dread in Erik's own heart. That night, sleep wouldn't come. He stared out his window at the skeletal trees, their branches like bony fingers reaching for a sliver of moon. A long, mournful howl echoed from deep within the forest. Asterisk, a woo, asterisk. It was a sound of hunger, of loneliness, of the wild, untamed world that pressed in on their small village. The sound made him shiver, not just from the cold seeping through the window pane, but from a deeper, more primal fear. He felt small and helpless. The next day, determined to do something, anything, Erik ventured deeper into the forest than he ever had before. The air was still and cold. The only sound was the asterisk crunch, 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 asterisk of his boots on the frosty ground. He was searching for a sign, a solution, an answer to the overwhelming how. As he paused beneath a giant snow-dusted fir tree, a flash of black caught his eye. A raven, larger than any he'd ever seen, sat on a low branch, its head cocked, its obsidian eyes fixed on him. "Lost, little one," a scratchy voice croaked. Erik jumped, his heart pounding. The raven, it had spoken. "You seek answers to how," the raven continued, hopping closer. "But you are asking the wrong question." Erik, finding his voice, stammered, "But how will we survive? The cold, the hunger, the darkness." The raven ruffled its sleek, dark feathers. "Knowing how is for the squirrels and the bears. They know how to store food, how to sleep. But you are not a squirrel, you are a boy. Humans need more. You need a why. A why." Erik was confused. A why? For what? The raven leaned in, its voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "A why to live. Why must you endure the cold? Why must you face the darkness? Find your why, little one, and a how will take care of itself." With a powerful beat of its wings, the raven launched into the air and disappeared over the treetops, leaving Erik alone with the echoing words. A why? He thought of Greta's grandmother, shivering by an empty hearth. He thought of the children in the village, their laughter already quieter, their eyes wider with unspoken fear. He thought of his own parents, their faces etched with worry. Suddenly, it wasn't about him anymore. It wasn't about his own fear or his own comfort. His why began to form, clear and bright as the winter stars. It was them. It was his family, his friends, his village. His why was to protect them, to bring them hope, to be the spark that keeps the fire of their community alive through the long, dark night. A surge of warmth spread through him, stronger than any fear. He had a purpose. Erik ran back to the village, his feet flying over the frozen ground. He didn't have a grand plan, but he had a start. He went straight to Greta. "We need to help everyone," he said, his voice ringing with a new confidence. "Not just your grandmother, everyone." Together, they organized the other children. They went from house to house, creating a list. Who needed firewood, who needed their shutters repaired, who was running low on stored food. They were no longer a group of scared children. They were a team with a mission. They chopped and stacked wood for the elders. They used their small, nimble fingers to help mend worn blankets and patch drafty walls. They organized their own food stores, sharing what little they had, so that everyone had something. when a lone wolf, driven by hunger, crept too close to the village, its eyes gleaming in the twilight. It wasn't just the men who stood guard. Erik and the other children were there too, holding lanterns high, their combined light a brave circle against the encroaching dark. Their courage, born from purpose, made them seem bigger, stronger. The wolf, seeing not scattered prey but a unified front, let out a frustrated growl and slunk back into the shadows of the forest. The long winter came, just as the elders had foretold. The snow fell in a thick, silent blanket, and the world outside their windows became a vast expanse of white. The wind howled, and the branches of the trees would crack under the weight of the ice. It was hard, it was cold, but it was not hopeless. Inside the village, a new warmth had kindled. They told stories, sang songs, and shared meals. Erik, once a quiet, thoughtful boy, was now a leader, his why burning brightly for all to see. He saw that when everyone worked for the good of all, they could bear almost any hardship. When the first thaw finally came, and the first green shoots pushed their way through the melting snow, the village celebrated not just the arrival of spring, but their own strength. They had not merely survived the howl of the long winter, they had conquered it, because Erik had helped them all discover their why. He looked towards the mountains, no longer seeing them as menacing giants, but as silent witnesses to their resilience. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, as long as they had a reason to face them, they could overcome anything. Having a purpose, a why to live for, gives us the incredible strength to endure almost anyhow. It transforms our struggles from burdens into challenges we can rise to meet. What's the why that gives you strength? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more ideas that make us think, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have many more adventures to share. See you next time.